Passwords, the first line of defense in today's day and age. So everyone should know what a password is. It's pretty much something that keeps you secure on whatever you're using. For example, if you're trying to access your bank, your phone, maybe even just your computer, you're most likely using a password. Some people are moving away from it, but a lot of people still use it. And today we're going to go over hopefully the basics of some of the common password attacks. Alright, I'm going to start off with the most beloved password attack of all time, and that is brute forcing. So some of you might be asking, what is brute forcing? That's a really cool name. Well, brute forcing is pretty much going through every possible version of the password that you can to get it right. Say for instance you're using a number pad. Number pads have numbers that go from 0 to 9. Let's assume that this number pad is only looking for 4 digits. In this case, brute forcing would be going through every single number from 000 all the way till 90000 till 9999. Now, brute forcing, especially in today's day and age, it can work well if your password is a lot smaller. However, for longer and more complex passwords, it proves to be pretty useless. But we're gonna move into a hacker's bread and butter, which is the dictionary attack. So what is a dictionary attack? As the definition kind of implies, it uses the words in a dictionary as passwords to try to guess your password. So say for instance, your password is password123. Now, if I have a whole list of different versions of passwords that I want to use to try to get to your password, and password123 is in there, I'll be able to obtain that password because it is in my password list. Obviously, a downside to this is that if the password is not in the list, I'm not going to be able to grab it. And then for more complex passwords, this will be hard to discover because the more complex it is, the less likely it's probably going to be in a password list. Now, moving forward, we're going to discuss a rainbow table. Now, rainbow table attacks pretty much do something similar to a dictionary attack, except with one variation. Now, when you're using passwords online, it goes through a method called hashing. So hashing is pretty much taking a password, changing it into gibbliglop, whatever that word is, and then storing that into whatever database it needs to be in. Now, what a rainbow table does is that it skips the hashing step because it already pulls the hash for those passwords and stores it in a table so that it can easily go through and compare. Now, this is as opposed to a dictionary attack because a dictionary attack knows how hashing works, but with that, it goes through each single password, hashes it, and then compares it to the password hash of the password you are trying to obtain. Now, I also wanted to touch on another technique involved in password cracking called credential stuffing. Now, credential stuffing, it's better explained in an example. Say, for instance, I'm a world-class hacker, novice, the #1 hacker, and for somehow, some way, I was able to get your email address password. Credential stuffing is pretty much me taking that password and using it in any other, anything else that is related to you. For instance, I'll use that email password on your Facebook to see if that works, your Instagram, your TikTok, your bank, your phone, your computer, and then pretty much go through that way to see where I can actually get you. Because this attack relies on human nature to reuse passwords. Obviously, that isn't the safest method, but it relies on that. It relies on that vector greatly. Moving on, I finally just want to touch on two things, which are online attacks versus offline attacks. So with an online attack, the best way to say it is that you are pretty much just attacking whatever it is continuously. Let's say, for instance, you go to a banking website and you see a username field and a password field. An online attack is you just constantly entering in a different username or a different password until you're able to hit and get that right password. Now, this can be very bad for a hacker or an attacker because this can end up getting your account locked out or timing you out. So this would just take a whole bunch of time and effort. Now, an offline attack looks to remediate that. However, there's one big caveat. So with an offline attack, you pretty much would have to obtain the hash of a password beforehand. Once you have that hash, as I said, you can use the different hashing algorithms such as SHA or MD5 to push your password through those algorithms and then compare those hashes offline. Now, this doesn't affect the system whatsoever, so you don't have to worry about getting locked out, because this is going to be on your computer that you're doing this on. But like I said, the caveat is that you somehow have to get the hash for that password. Now, most hackers use offline attacks because if you're online, you're most likely going to be caught by whoever is monitoring those systems, and because of that, they'll be able to find you, put extra security in place to stop you. But if you're doing an offline attack, they might get like one login failure. You're able to somehow pull the hash, and then you can offline brute force it. That way they can't even see that you're trying to attack them. Now, that is pretty much it. I just want to keep it short and brief because to be a hacker, passwords are going to be your bloodline. They're going to be your mainstay. You're going to have to know and understand some of these different attacks and how to use them. So, with that being said, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it was short, brief, and you guys can understand password attacks now. Soon I'll be creating a video going through and actually showing brute forcing and different password attacks in action, so that you can have an idea of how those work. But with that being said, that is the end. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you enjoy what I'm doing, make sure you subscribe. If you don't like the video, let me know in the comments why. I'll try to improve. But with that, that's all for me. Peace.